What is up, everybody? How's it going? We hit 3,000 subscribers today on YouTube, which is insane. When I got to Japan, I had about 250. I've been here for about a semester. So the fact that we've hit 3,000 is kind of mind-boggling to me. And some of you saw my post. I wanted to do a small Q&A answering some of your guys' questions because there's a lot of questions I get in YouTube comments and stuff that I answer, but I thought I might as well do kind of an all-in-one. To get us started, we'll get right into it. I have my questions here. What is studying abroad like? What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? Did I feel nervous at any point when applying? For me, I would rate it 10 out of 10. No, I mean, I'd say probably more an 8 out of 10. There are downsides and upsides. I'd say no matter where you are, studying abroad puts you outside of your comfort zone like no other experience. And it's really uncomfortable, but I feel like the payoff is so worth it. For me, because I had been wanting to go to Japan for a long time, a lot of the nervousness was, it was a mix. I was extremely excited, but I also had a lot of expectations, even though I tried to keep them low. And there's a lot of anticipation for what was to come. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. There was definitely nervousness, but I find that when I'm nervous about something, usually means I'm on the right track. I'm doing something that's good for myself, if that makes sense. Another question is, what classes am I taking at Kansai Gaidai and how are the teachers? What is the workload like? Right now I'm taking Japanese, kanji writing and readings, a class called Documenting Japan, which is kind of like an anthropology class, and a philosophy history class about Japanese warriors. I've found that the professors here all tend to be very nice, although like any school, there's hit and miss professors. And the workload, at least for me, has not been bad. But I'm also a film student and my workload is never really bad. To be completely honest, it's a lot of projects and stuff like that. I would highly recommend that when you come here, you take the minimum amount of classes that you can. And that's not because school isn't good, but you're gonna want as much time as possible to make friends, to go out. I mean, you're here to live in another country, to experience another culture, to learn another language. So take advantage of that as much as possible. You don't learn as much Japanese in your Japanese classes as you'd hope you learn by making friends and by going out and talking and putting yourself in uncomfortable positions where you're forced to speak the language. So that's my answer to that. Third question is, what majors are offered abroad? For me, I'm technically still doing my major from the States, which is film and Japanese majors with a minor in philosophy. That hasn't changed since I came here. For me, since I'm not a full-time exchange student, all I have to focus on is just making sure I'm taking the right classes to subsidize credits back home. So yeah, same major. It's usually up to whatever your home institution has. What's your favorite thing to do in Japan so far, and what are you planning to experience? Honestly, one of my favorite things to do has been karaoke, both by myself, with my friends, and that was probably one of the things I was least expecting to kind of fall in love with here. It's really cheap, you can bring your own drinks in, and they have a lot of English songs, a lot of Japanese songs. I'm planning to do a lot more travel, especially in the later summer and fall. I want to travel up north to Hokkaido, and I want to travel more around the Kansai region, because most of the travel I've done so far has been relatively close in Osaka and Kyoto. So I really want to explore more. There's a pilgrimage I want to do as well. So lots of stuff I have in mind. Next question, has it been easy to connect with locals, or do you mainly talk with other students? Have you been doing a lot of shopping? What's been the best thing you've bought in Japan so far? I'd say because I'm at an international school, it actually has been pretty easy to connect with locals. The local students tend to be excited to speak English, to learn English. So I found getting to know local students and making friends has been surprisingly easy. It's been really nice. I have some local friends. Shout out to them, you know who you are. Personally, I'm not a big shopper. So I've bought some clothes and stuff here and there. I've bought a lot of like little knickknacks and stuff, but I am having to keep in mind kind of the amount of space I have to take stuff home. So that's something to consider. The best thing I've bought so far, I just bought a small digicam in Tokyo. Probably one of my favorite purchases. Other than that, lots of food. Been spending a lot of money on food. And these bugs. What type of music do I listen to and who are my favorite artists? Honestly, I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. I don't really stick to one genre, but my favorite artists, there's this guy named Chrome Sparks who does electronic music. Love his music. Next question, I want to know if there are any restrictions on what subjects foreigners can study. I know med schools and dental schools require at least N2. So there aren't necessarily restrictions on what I can study. There are a couple of Japanese classes, such as business Japanese, that generally require you to have a higher level of Japanese. The biggest restriction that there is at KGU specifically is the summer internship program, which they offer for anybody, any student really. The issue is all of the internships except for maybe 2, which are like teaching English and working at like an international center, require conversational or business Japanese level or higher. So that's kind of the biggest downside to not coming knowing Japanese, but I haven't felt like I haven't been able to take classes because of that, if that makes sense. What is Osaka like? I'll be going over there myself as my first trip overseas ever in my life. Osaka is great, to be honest, and I highly encourage anybody coming to Japan to check Osaka out if you have the time. Tokyo is great, but I think Osaka kind of brings the same city vibe, but it's just a different vibe. It's a different region. People speak differently. The food is great. There's a lot of really good food and a lot of interesting arcades and stuff like that. I love Osaka, hence the Osaka Ben name, you know? And for those who don't know, Osaka Ben is actually a pun because in Japanese, Ben means dialect, and Osaka Ben is the Osaka dialect. So there you go. But yeah, highly recommend Osaka. Going to Dotonbori, Namba is awesome. Lots of cool museums, Osaka Castle, of course. Lots of interesting stuff to do in Osaka. Did I find it easy or hard to make friends? I mean, I kind of answered this one, but it's definitely pretty easy to make friends here, especially initially. Well, I would say to make sure that you're putting yourself out there, especially in those first 2 to 3 weeks, because that is when everybody is fresh and that's when everybody's excited to make friends. People do get a little bit cliquey, especially here. It is a slightly smaller school, so people kind of form into friend groups, and there are clubs and stuff that happen every week that are kind of designed to help you meet new people. Put yourself out there and you'll make friends, I guarantee it. And what am I studying here? I mean, I went over my classes. Next semester, I'm taking fairly similar classes, but a lot of it is studying Japanese and some elective courses. So fairly simple stuff. Those are all the questions that were asked on the post, which thank you, all 10 of you, for responding. I really appreciated that. Some like kind of more general FAQ that I've gotten have been, what gear do I use? Right now, I'm shooting on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. That's kind of my main vlogging camera. It's super small, shoots great video. For my cinematic videos, or for the last video I made, that was shot on the Lumix S5 Mark II, which is kind of my slightly more heavy-duty mirrorless camera. And that's my main gear. That's kind of what I shoot with. I really like to have a more minimal setup, something that allows me to just focus on doing what I'm doing and make sure the video comes out good. For study abroad logistics and eligibility, it varies from person to person and it varies from university to university. So my piece of advice would be to check with your study abroad advisor at least a year before you plan to study abroad, because this process is something that you can't do immediately. You have to, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of forms you have to sign, and so making sure that you start that process as early as possible. So for example, I'm studying my spring semester of my junior year and my fall semester of my senior year, and I first approached my study abroad advisor probably fall semester of my sophomore year. So I made sure to give myself enough time to fill out forms, choose what school I wanted to go to. So it varies, but definitely go sooner rather than later. How has the language been overall? For me, I studied Japanese for about 4 years on and off before coming here, and I have felt that even in the 4 months I've been here, my Japanese has greatly improved. But the issue is the dorm I'm living in is primarily foreign students that are not fluent in Japanese. So it just takes an extra level of effort to put yourself out there and make sure that you're speaking Japanese, making Japanese friends. But even just being here, I mean, your Japanese will improve unless you don't leave your room and only watch YouTube videos in English. But don't stop watching my videos. The budget and costs, the way I'm paying for this study abroad is by paying my regular university tuition, and then they pay a third party, and then that third party pays my school. So budgeting university-wise remained the same. However, for personal spending and stuff like that, I would work as much as you can before you come. I would recommend budgeting anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 USD before you come. I would say in general, take whatever amount of money you want to have and double it, because you're going to want to buy food, you're going to want to buy souvenirs, you're going to want to buy clothes, you're going to, go to things like Universal Studios, and that stuff's not cheap per se. In terms of the duration of my stay, I'm going to be here for a full calendar year, which is a little bit abnormal, but it just worked out for me with my studies. Usually you're here for a semester, so 4 months per se. But I found if you're able to do 2 semesters or more, do it, because right now, right as you're about to leave, is kind of when you start to get a hang of the culture. All you're gonna wanna do is wish you had stayed longer. Trust me, trust me. Any local tips for onsens or bars and stuff? I don't really go out much, so honestly, I am not the best person to ask when it comes to that kind of stuff. The only bars and stuff I really know of are just the local Kansai Gaidai, Hirakata neighborhood bars, which, if that applies to you, I would say Ages, Sankara, and Cheers Junior. Those are kind of our local bars, at least the ones that I go to. And clubs, I've only been clubbing once, so don't even ask me about clubs. Onsens, this area doesn't have a lot of onsens. There's a lot of local bathhouses, which are a little different, but those tend to be very local. So just as a heads up, you're gonna wanna brush up on your Japanese. But yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't answer all of your questions to the fullest, kind of doing this on the fly. I will probably do a Q&A live stream at some point. And of course, if you guys have more questions, I will answer them in depth in the comments. But yeah, that's all for today. 3,000 subscribers is crazy. I love and appreciate all of you, and thank you guys for the support thus far. Keep it up, keep it up. Keeps me motivated to make more videos for you guys. I have a new video coming out in a couple days about me getting lost in a mall trying to see a movie. So check that one out when it comes out. That's all for today. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. There goes the train. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a comment down below, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.